Hi guys, it's Tracy with another scrapbooking layout process, and this is the photo that I actually took this photo this morning, and I really love it. I don't usually do black and white shots, but I really liked this one in black and white, so printed it up and decided to scrapbook it right away. You see me just going through my Studio Calico kit. This is the April kit, which is called Spencer's. I only have the main scrapbooking kit. I do have the Project Life kit, but I don't use it when I scrapbook. So I'm just picking out some pictures, or sorry, so I'm picking out some papers that I think are going to go well with this photo. I mean, since the photo is black and white, I could have gone with pretty much any color scheme I wanted, but I decided to go with some blues and reds. I decided to stay away from the oranges. Now what you see me doing is I'm going through the Citrus Twist kit and picking out a couple of other papers from there. I decided to stay away from the oranges because that was sort of the reason I changed the photo to black and white, is that there were a lot of oranges. The table is very orange, and so every photo taken in that room has a real orange hue to it, and so I really wanted to stay away from orange for that reason. So I'm sticking with the blues and the reds. I picked out a couple of pattern pieces of paper there from the Citrus Twist kit to add to the papers that I had already picked out from Studio Calico. And these are some embellishments from the Citrus Twist kit, and this I had a look at the stamps, and now I'm looking at the embellishments from the Studio Calico kit. I'm just picking out some of the ones that I think I might use. So I picked out all of the blue speech bubbles, not intending to use them all, but just so that I could know what my options were. And I'm just going to keep the embellishments off on the sidelines while I scrapbook this layout. Now I'm just going through my stamp collection, looking at some past Studio Calico kit stamps. I especially love that One Perfect Day In, and I've used that in a couple of ways, and I wanted to use it to say One Perfect Day Indoors because it was a really rainy day today. So when they asked if they could go on the computers, we just kind of let them spend a couple of hours this morning on PBS Kids because it's good learning and there's nothing else that they could do inside, and we thought we'd let them get away with some computer time for a change. I'm just having one last look at my stamps, and now I think I'm going to get started. So, oh yes, I decided to have a look through my die cuts. These are my Dear Lizzie die cuts. I keep my die cuts in boxes while they're current, so as long as I have lots of them. And I knew that there was lots of rainy day embellishments in the Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm collection, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just going through my sticker books and my die cuts, all the Lucky Charms, looking for those umbrellas and raindrops and those sorts of things. While I was at it, I pulled out a couple of other stickers, but I'm mostly focusing on the Dear Lizzie, so I'm going to keep those off to the side too while I scrap these pictures. Now this is a hexagon vellum, and it's by Studio Calico. It's really cool. So I wanted that to be fairly large so that it would stick out both. I'm going to put papers both below and above it, but I wanted to definitely see lots of it, so I cut a fairly large piece. This is a piece of Tim and Beck paper. It's really cool. It's got colorful arrows on one side and then red arrows on the other side. And this, that letter paper, is a Studio Calico paper too. So far all of these came in the Studio Calico kit, except this red polka dot paper that I'm using right now is from the Citrus Twist kit, and it's from Studio Calico Darling Dear collection. This speech bubble is from Darling Dear, but I'm not going to use it. And I took another piece of that red polka dot Darling Dear paper and a strip of the other Studio Calico paper, and I'm just kind of playing around with the layers here, trying to figure out what layers are going to look best. Basically, I'm kind of feeling like that red is kind of a lot, so I'm wanting to tone it down a little bit by putting some things in between it and the other papers, I guess. So now I'm going to cut some strips for above and below my layout. I wanted to bring some red because that red is so bold. I wanted to bring some red above and below, and I already had one strip cut, so I cut another strip. And now I also wanted to kind of balance it off, so I brought some blue down to the top and the bottom as well. And now I had this leftover scrap of chevron blue chevron ribbon from, I think it was in last month's Studio Calico kit. And so I'm just kind of looping it into 2 or 3 loops and stapling it together. And I'm going to stick it under some of the layers as a little bit of an embellishment that's going to kind of pop out. And now I just took a picture of the layers as they were because I knew I wanted them pretty much as they were. So now I'm just kind of deconstructing it and reconstructing it using my photo as a guide. As a rough guide, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And now this piece of paper that I just glued on now is from KI Memories. On one side it was a pattern paper, and on the other side it was a bunch of squares that you could cut apart. And so I cut it apart, and that was one of the squares. That film negative strip is a basic gray frame that came in the Studio Calico kit. And so you just see me figuring out where I'm going to put those ribbon pieces, and they're going to become the anchors for my 3 clusters of embellishment. Although this layout is not going to be all that embellishment, it has a lot of layers, and so typically when I use a lot of layers I don't do a whole lot of embellishing. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to get a rain, like some type of reference to rain. And so this gray, it's like an ombre effect sticker, is from the Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm collection, and it says, "You make me happy when skies are gray." I just grabbed a piece of gray chevron airmail washi tape just because with all of the reds and blues I felt like I needed a third color or a neutral of some sort, and so the gray airmail was, I knew I had that washi in my basket somewhere, so I actually went looking for it because I thought it would be a good addition to this layout. So now I'm just using my Zig glue pen to put down those strips. Yeah. So I'm using that just because it goes on really easily, and that those strips are too narrow for the ATG. I'm going to put that gray sticker up in the top, but I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with it. So I just put an arrow on the back of this so I could remember which one goes on the top and the bottom. It's just a little obsessive detail of mine. I didn't need to do that. The top and bottom are pretty much the same, but I had it in my head I wanted it a certain way, so I just wanted to remind myself the top. I'm using silver Mr. Huey's and water cooler Mr. Huey's. And I just went back and added a few extra sprinkles. And now I'm using silver thread, and I use Coats silver thread. I get it at Michael's, just in the sewing department. And I am sewing a zigzag strip along the top and along the bottom. And now I'm going to go back and do a straight stitch also along the top and along the bottom. I use a Kenmore half-size sewing machine. It's just a tiny little lightweight sewing machine, but it's really good. It's the same as the Genome Sew Mini, and I just keep it right out on my scrap table. I just keep it in front of me when I scrapbook. So there's the layout kind of coming together. I'm just using some pop dots to add some layer and dimension between some of my layers. Now I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with these speech bubbles and whether I'm going to use 2 of them or 1 of them or what I'm going to do. I kind of like the look of the photo without any speech bubbles on it. I just really, really like the photo, and I don't want to cover it up very much. I'm using that One Perfect Day stamp, and whenever you stamp over both, like over 2 layers, I stamped on the photo as well as the background paper there. You always get a bit of a, you risk it not coming out very well. So I just go back with my pen. That was my dog running after my cat. And I add the marks on it. So, right, I better tell you what I'm doing here. I put the sticker over top of the speech bubble, and now I am cutting it out. I used my white gel pen to color in the bottom part of the speech bubble, like just with the pointy part, to make it white, so it looks like it goes ombre from navy blue to kind of like a gray color, and then to white at the very bottom. And I just use I use a Uniball Signo gel pen, white gel pen. That was hard to spit out there. And so basically it makes it look like the speech bubble was like the ombre effect with the words on it. So now I'm using the Alley DIY thickers that came in the Citrus Twist kit. I'm spelling out pbskids.org, and then I'm going to take a letter I won't use very often, which is a Z, and I'm just going to test my water cooler, Mr. Huey's, just to make sure that it's going to be a color that is going to look good on this layout, and I do like it, so I'm going to go back and mist the letters. I mist them a little bit heavier than what I need it to be, because when I rub the paper towel on to soak up some of the extra, it soaks up some of the extra, so it gets a little bit lighter. I'm just setting it with my heat gun because I don't have much patience and I want it to be dry, so I don't, when I put it on the layout, so that I don't get ink all over everything. And so I was just double checking the placement, and now I am putting the, you might have missed that. I used that little piece of paper there on the side to set my place for where I wanted that bunch of layers to go. So I often will do that. I kind of put a piece of paper onto my layout to mark a spot so I don't remember so I don't forget where I want it to go. So now I'm just laying out all those stickers, trying to get them so that they're straight, which is hard because some of the layers underneath are not even, and so I want it to look lined up with the bottom of the layout. I'm trying to find some red letters to do my subtitle in, and none of the letters I had picked out were good, but then I remembered I had these red basic gray little letter stickers. I think they came in a Studio Calico kit a while ago, and I never did use them that month, so maybe I bought them. I don't know. So I'm just spelling out the title. This is actually, I did a Facebook status when I posted this picture, and it was called a pbskids.org kind of morning. And so I often make my scrapbooking layouts be like the titles are the same as the Facebook status I used for that photo. So I have to bring those down a little bit so that there'll be room for the K, because the K sticks up a little bit more, has an ascender on it. And yeah, these are harder to place than they need to be because my fingernails are way too long. I don't know, I should have just trimmed my fingernails. I tend to like leave my nails. I go in spurts where I'll take good care of them and have polish on them all the time. And then I go through spurts where I don't do much and kind of just wait for them to break instead of actually trimming them up. So anyways. What am I doing now? Oh yes, so now I'm doing some more letter stickers. I just really like that red color and I like the font, and so I decided to add the date in letter stickers instead of using my roller date stamp, which is what I would usually use. So I've got April 2013, and that brings a nice pop of red up to that corner where the speech bubble is. So there you get to see the speech bubble a little bit closer. The white tail of that speech bubble is just colored in because it was blue, of course, with my my Signo Uniball gel roller, I think it's called, which is my favorite white pen. So I'm just having a look at it and trying to think of what else I'm going to do with this. It's almost done, but I feel like I need a little bit something else. And I'm really trying to use my stamps a little bit more on my layouts. And so I got an arrow by Kelly Perky, and I'm using Stampin' Up! Basic Gray ink to put some arrows in those two spots. And now I'm just looking, I have the Hello Weekend stamp, and also from the Kelly Perky set, and I stamped it upside down on that speech bubble by accident, so I'm kind of trying to figure out what am I going to do with that, and then I just decided to stamp that sentiment again on a sticker. And so I picked out these Dear Lizzie and stickers, and I used Stays On ink, but it didn't stamp very well. So I'm moving on, and I'm going to try to stamp it in this little space here that you see underneath the basic gray frame. And it's stamped reasonably well, so it's a little hard to see, but it's okay. Now I'm just adding some Studio Calico gems. They came in the Citrus Twist kit for March. And I'm putting them in places and in 3 different places, and then I'm just adding one of those tags that also came in the Citrus Twist kit. It says you and me, and it's sort of referring to Olivia and Sophie, not like me and one of my daughters. And then I just needed something in that other corner, so I took one of those Dear Lizzie stickers, and even though you can't read the sentiment, that's okay because I don't think the sentiment applies. I'm just kind of using it for a layer. Added more. I had to dip into my own package of the gems because I ran out of the colors I needed. So here's the close-up. You get to see that speech bubble that I basically cut out of the rectangular Dear Lizzie sticker. And I love how that basic gray frame looks tucked in behind those layers. So you'll get to see a couple of photos now. And so thanks a lot for joining me on this layout, and have a good weekend, everybody.